Watch and burn.
Hey everyone. So tonight I wanted to discuss Godspeed's Asunder fucking Sweet and Other Distress because, I mean, I don't get it. Like, what the hell's going on? Okay, I gotta start that over. Hey guys. No. Hey everyone. So tonight I wanted to discuss Godspeed's Asunder Sweet and Other Distress. Now, first off, I mean, their album titles and their song titles. I mean, when they're done creating these massive compositions of like giant walls of sound, do they sit back and say, let's make these titles as complicated and as cryptic or as cryptically meaningless or meaningful, depending, as possible? Or are these titles more honest? Did somebody write a poem in the band and someone else was like, oh, hey, Asunder, Sweet, and Other Distress? It's a really good line. Maybe we should use it for our first record since 2010. They said during the recording session at some point through 2013, 2014. Is that the case? Or are these titles just like random shit thrown together to just confuse everybody? Because I've been into Godspeed for a really long time now, and I just don't get their wordplay. I don't get it at all. I've looked it up. It's difficult to find information from release to release and like explaining exactly what they mean. People have theories, of course, but there's never really ever been anything carved into stone from anybody in the band for each of these wildly titled albums and songs and tracks on said wildly titled albums. I just don't get it. Whenever I'm like, oh, so tonight I'm going to talk about, and I know it's going to be a Godspeed record, I always find myself like, okay, am I going to get it right? It's Sweet and Asunder? No, it's Asunder, Sweet and Other Distresses? Or Distress. Okay, it's Distress. Okay, get that right. And for purely instrumental music, they could have went a little easier on everybody concerning the titles. But anyways, it doesn't matter. This record is, like I said, it is their first full-length release since reforming back in 2010. And this record, again, continues on with the modern Godspeed heaviness. But I will say that the thing that makes this record stand out, at least for me, was there's a lot of what I would characterize or categorize as being noise elements at the beginnings of a couple of the tracks here. It's like there's a lot of chaos before the structure takes hold, and then Godspeed does what Godspeed does and builds this massive cacophony of sound from pretty much nothing. Like I said, this record is more noisy at the beginning, and that's kind of something Godspeed hasn't really done a lot of in the past. And I did find a lot of what I would say as noise elements, like as in the type of music elements at play on this record. This record also has a locked groove, so you have to be careful with that. That drone at the end, it's just of the one track whose name I'm not going to bother trying to remember because I don't remember what it is. And what's the point? I'll just screw it up anyways. Like I said, there's a locked groove, so the drone, it continues endlessly, and it's clever, but if you're not careful and you end up finding yourself invested in doing other things, like say you were, dancing with somebody, or if you were cleaning, or if you were dancing while you were cleaning, and maybe you were sewing, doing these multitask things, very quickly you'll find yourself being driven crazy by the drone in the locked groove. So you got to watch out for that. And again, the song titles on each side of the vinyl, assuming that you bought the vinyl, they're reversed. So that's fun. Got to hold it up to a mirror to figure out what they say. I think it's clever and everything. Reminds me of the book Invisible Monsters, or the remix at least, because actually I never read the first edition of Invisible Monsters. I only read the remix, and the remix has some chapters in reverse that I had to hold up to a fucking mirror. It's cool and everything, but it's a little frustrating. Fortunately enough, those titles weren't the longest, but nonetheless, having to read a book in reverse in a mirror isn't a lot of fun. The other thing I liked about this record was this is one of Godspeed's bigger drone records. Traditionally, Godspeed is known for releasing roughly 4 tracks per album, assuming it's not a double album like Lift Your Skinny Fists. And on the 4 tracks, there's usually 2 bigger, more like wall of sound tracks that run anywhere from 12 to 20 minutes. And then there's usually 2 shorter tracks that run 5 to 8 minutes apiece, and they're more like noise-ish and more drone-based. I never found that to be more apparent than on Asunder, Sweet, and Other Distress. I got the title right. Again, I said it there just to make sure that I was going to say it correctly. I was half convinced I was going to screw it up, and I didn't, so I'm very proud of myself there. But yeah, I found that this has one of the biggest drone vibes to a Godspeed record. Actually, this, in a lot of ways, has the biggest drone feeling out of any Godspeed record ever released, period. These tracks, especially with the locked groove, they go on in a lot of ways endlessly, but it never really drives you crazy, unless, like I said, you're sewing, dancing, and cleaning, in which case, yes, that will drive you nuts. But otherwise, I really like the feel I get from the drones, and I like how the locked groove never stops. I sort of like, I can appreciate the genius behind it, I suppose. Manson did it too on his newest record. He has a locked groove on there as well, which is really clever. But, yeah, so I'm trying to think of something else clever to say, and I don't really have anything clever to say. Holy Christ, I've been doing this for 6 minutes and 20 seconds. So yeah, so look, I'm going to go. So thank you so much for hanging out with me while I rambled pointlessly about Godspeed's 2015 release, Asunder, Sweet, and Other Distress. Goddamn, I got it right for a third time. If you guys like this review, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. You guys are amazing, and I will see you soon. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe, and we will see you guys really soon.